Good morning. I know we're late, but let's take a look to see if there's any of that Christmas rate coming out. So stay tuned. Yes. Good morning. I had to make a second pot of coffee. So that's why we're late. Yeah, that's it. That's it. No, I'm trying to get a truck west, and I know, isn't that weird for me? But we have a specific goal in mind, and they're not paying to go out west from the east or middle. Unless you're going to Denver or they are starting to pay a little bit to go into like Oregon and Washington right now, but for the most part, if you want to get out to California, you're going to have to two-step it, and that's everybody else has kind of figured that out. So you can figure out a better rate from, let's say, Joplin to Phoenix, and then maybe take a shorty from Phoenix to L.A. versus taking $1.30 a mile to go from, say, Joplin to L.A., right? So what that's done is that's killed kind of it's softened the market going into Arizona. So, it's I was talking about this with the driver today. The ELDs, it was not about safety. It was about data mining and analytics. It's that simple. All that stuff that you see sonar going off of, that's everything. We're all tied together because of the great matrix. So, just kind of keep that in mind. But good morning and hope all is well. It is September 23rd, and we're less than 100, 100-something days left of the year, I think. I think we had our, is it fall equinox? Did that happen yet? Anyways. But freight is doing what it's doing. Dispatch is kind of slow this week. I've got several big loads that I'm dealing with this week, and that's it. That's, I'm not piddling around with a lot of the spot stuff right now. So, and that's kind of the goal, right? That's kind of a goal to get to is to be off the low boards as much as possible. Yes, I do promote 123 low board, but guess what? If I can book freight more direct, that doesn't get posted on the low boards, then we're off to the races. That seems to be the trick. So, but anyways, hope all is well. Let me see here. Let's get some hope you all had a good weekend. Did you have a good weekend? We did. We did okay. I went out. Now check this out. So everybody, this is not trucking related, but everybody knows if you're following me on the OG channel, I've been doing this carnivore thing. Well, ironically, this carnivore has been out picking vegetables and fruits in a garden. There's this community garden that my wife's a part of, and she convinced me to go out there. She was going to be out there by herself today or Saturday. And, it's not the best neighborhood, and she needs some help. And, so I'm like, you know what, we'll do it. So went out there and picked 47 pounds of tomatoes and also some cucumbers, zucchini. And then what we do is we distribute it among the church, and we also distribute it among, our friends and family and all that stuff. And so it's a good thing to learn, because even the fresh stuff in the grocery store isn't that great. And then my kitten's running around here somewhere, getting into trouble. So, but anyways, let's go to the comments here. Not a whole lot of people in here. I don't have my usual crowd, so not my usual time, but that's fine. Jose, good morning. Flatbed Trucker, good morning. Marty, what's up? With the check marks and thumbs up. Gary Cook, better late than never. Yeah, Gary, if I had known, see, here's the thing with Facebook, dude. If I had known that you were at the TA, I would have came and said hi, but I don't have notifications turned on Facebook on my phone. So I only get notifications if I randomly just sign in. And by the time I had left there, because I hung out with a good friend of mine who I used to dispatch for, his carrier, since I don't really do outside carriers anymore, but I try to help him out when I can. And but he owns the carrier, but he still has to be in a truck, because it's that time right now. A lot of people are having to do that. But we had a good conversation, and he was parked over at the TA, and then I got home, and I saw that you had posted there 5 hours away. So next time you come through, Gary, if you want to hang out, just shoot me a message on Messenger. I do have notifications on. So Pam, what's up? Does okay, Pam, good morning. CDN, good morning, Steve. Dispatch is never not busy. When you're not booking loads, you're building relationships. If you stop building relationships, it's only because you're on vacation. Deep selling is key. And I agree with that. I'm not just sitting here twiddling my thumbs checking Facebook if I'm not dispatching. I had to deal with some driver issues this morning, and then it took me, oh, hold on. This is kind of important text here. Hopefully the driver's getting this too. So we're not canceling the load. Jeez, Uber, chill. Hopefully you sent that to the driver as well. What was I even talking about? Oh, yeah. It took me 3 hours to find a load this morning, because they were gone before they could take the posting down. And I needed something specific. It wasn't like, I can't find the load. No, it was like, we needed something specific to go out west. We needed it to make sense. And we needed it to work in a certain time frame. And these loads were, the brokers were, we were literally on the phone with one agent, and the other agent was covering it. It was one of those deals, or I was getting hold, or I was put on hold, it was the whole thing, right? So luckily, Click and Go had something we needed, and we took it. So, but yeah, back to CDN's comment. So I look at these load boards, I look at the rates, I look at market things, I look at strategies, and And a lot of times I'm waiting for the drivers. You know, sometimes I'll be proactive like Shannon. When I know she's going to be in a bind, I'll call her. I'm like, hey, you're probably going to need a load out of there, huh? And she's like, yeah. And so I'll help her out with that. And I do that with a couple other drivers as well. So, and then Jeff will have me watch Raycons, you know, watch the TMS, you know, especially this time of year. He gets kind of caught up in this Halloween business. And so I'm helping out with that. So, I mean, it's never, I'm never not busy. And then if I find myself checking my phones too much on stupid things like Instagram, Facebook, that kind of crap, I will put a book in front of me and try to read that instead, or catch up on some freight podcasts or some self-improvement podcasts. So that's kind of where I'm at. Snorelord says, good morning. Any loads leaving Lake Tahoe today? I doubt it. Gen Z says, good morning. Smooth trucking, snore to the Lord. Sterling, $2 super chat. I'm usual. Your usual. Oh, I saw something. It's that ghost. So let's see. Let's look up something here. Oh, and what's interesting about my channel is YouTube's got me all messed up. And YouTube's like, wait a minute, you're a trucking dude. Why are you showing kitten videos? So, I want to say, okay, sorry, I was looking at something here. Gary says, no problem. T-Bone, just a kind of important text. Shannon, speaking of her, there she is. Good morning. I delivered this morning in Lebanon, Missouri, a load of cabinets. Now trying to find another load. Lebanon puts you within a kind of a shot out of St. Louis, so you might look for a beer load coming out of St. Louis. But then there's also stuff coming out of Springfield, and if you expand your search, you're looking at a Joplin. So you know what? Let's do that real quick, Gary. Let's do that. So let's get 1, 2, 3 up here. And let's look for a load out of Lebanon, Missouri. So and Sterling's always got the Yakima, Washington going somewhere. So he put up the super chat first. So we'll look at that. There's a few loads if you want to do that lane. Looks like $1.38. Go to California. Jurupa Valley, California. So, all right, let's do a new search here. All right. Lebanon, Missouri, today. Are you at that Jones Travel Center? Lebanon. Why it's not coming up. There it is. Speaking of Lebanon, man, they're firing stuff at each other out there in the Middle East again. I'll put anywhere. Let's put this for van. Apply. Search. Oh wait, I got this on any date. We got to do it for today. We'll do today and tomorrow. How's that? Only got one more move in for solar. They're shutting site down for storm, deciding what to charge for 2.5 hours worth of work plus a 30-minute drive and back, or book a short load for the day. Whatever's easiest and more realistic. Fate Trucking, good morning. Steve, are you using MailChimp or similar to email your truck availability to your network of brokers? No. I did set up a MailChimp account, but there's never a time when I have a list of trucks that, like I go through my network first, and and it's like I don't have like, oh, here's 10 trucks and here's where they're going to be. Normally I've got strategies and plans in place. So it's not as simple as maybe a fleet manager that might have 10, 20 trucks. Now, your advice about MailChimp is really good. However, like this today, it would have helped. But here's what I'm finding, CDN. Here's the thing that you have to recognize with these generic dry van brokers, okay? Is that it's ever changing. So like Arrive Logistics. I have one guy that I was working with, and then at least once or twice a week, there's another agent that's trying to take over his spot. And then that guy either ends up leaving or he loses our name because we're not booking enough freight with him. And then, hold on. And so now I'm emailing different people, right? And then the broker emails that are just like dispatch at so-and-so logistics.com or whatever, those are never answered, right? And my main people I like working with is it's just easier to email them directly and tell them what I'm working on. So your idea is good if I had way more trucks or if I had a different system in place. But for my system now, it's just easier to go to all their platforms. And then the brokers that I try to get on their email list, they won't do it. You know, like PLS, you know, we see their shopping cart loads here on 123 all the time. They will not do a list, nor will they tell you about other loads if the one that you're specifically looking for is being booked. You know, I'm not making excuses. I've told CDN this many, many times, but he is on a level, even in his own world. He's on a different level. Like, even within his own agency, not agency, but his own brokerage. And so, yes, MailChimp works, but my account has, due to inactivity, it's been closed because I never used it. And because I set up a bunch of things and no one answers those emails. And so it's just been easier to do. And then the other thing is the amount of emails that we get to RateCon and dispatch at liketrucking.com. Like I have all these different areas, and the brokers that I tend to work with are the ones that say, hey, you send me your trucks. And so depending on what Arrive person I have that week, you know, and then my CH guy I've been using predominantly. And then the click and goes that use the computers and use the parades and stuff, they have no interest in email lists. They have no interest in a list of my trucks. So that's kind of where that goes. But it's a good, and maybe that's a good video on your channel is to, and maybe you've already done it because I know you've talked about it many times, but it's kind of a different in my world, you know, not to mention that 80% of the loads I'm booking aren't making it on DAT or 123. So, and to give you an example, we have a broker that we've literally ran $149,000 worth of freight this year alone, just one. With let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, close to 5 drivers, at least 4 that I know of. That's where the sweet spot is, and that stuff's not on the low boards. And the people that they're, you know, we're working with these people directly, and So that's what we're doing. So, Jerome, good morning from Myrtle Beach. Charity Sharp, good morning. You are late to the party, so am I. Having a dog on my channel has boosted my channel outreach. People don't like truckers. That's true. Gary Cook, yes, I am. Yeah, I've got Lebanon up here. We'll take a look at it. They did find that shooter in Kentucky. Good deal. I can appreciate to ever changing contacts. Yes. And that's the thing. It's like, you look, there's a lot of people out there that will say it's not important to create a relationship with the broker. I've had drivers literally tell me that, right? Because they think of the worst case scenario, right? They think, well, I'll just have this for like a month and then I'll be, rejected, or they're going to lower the rate, or they're just going to find somebody cheaper. Okay, but that's still a contact. That still might be true. It is a dog-eat-dog business. But I do know for a fact that I have several brokers in my role, in my, my contacts that appreciate the service that we give, and they would rather call me than post something on a load board. And then sometimes they're constricted because of the shipper, and sometimes the shipper gives them free reins, and then I end up getting a better rate because of the drivers that I can put forth. That's how it works. And I can't tell you how many times, like that's one of the things that make it more challenging with TQL, is that you don't have a particular carrier representative like CH. JB Hunt's the same way, right? Because if JB Hunt had a carrier representative, I think things would be a lot different with them. Snyder, we had a carrier representative from them. So if there was a problem with some kind of verification or something like that, that person knows us. Okay? CH, they know us. Even Uber Freight will give us a representative that we can call if there's issues. So if their technology fails and says that we're failing at something, then we can call that particular person, and then they can put hands on it. They can put eyes on it, and we're not dealing with somebody outsourced. Now, TQL, what I have noticed about them is that they'll have a representative for a certain customer, shipper. So, like, if I got a reefer truck that's landing in Seattle, guess what? I've got a TQL guy that I will contact directly to see if he has anything coming out, because that particular person is in charge of this particular account, which is a great reefer load coming out of that area. And a lot of times he'll call me. Hey, man, is your truck going to be in Seattle? Because I got 5 of these, fake meat loads coming out. And so it is possible with TQL, but they're stepping over each other just to get the freight as well. So you have agents ripping each other apart. And so CDN, I know you appreciate consistency. So, and I noticed that if you're emailing dispatch at cwlogistics.com or something like that, there's no consistency. You're dealing with like 10 or 12 or 15 different agents in an office that have access to the email. Like I emailed a broker today about, and I emailed one person about one load. I emailed the second person about the same load. Sorry. And then I had to call. And when I called, I was put on hold. And then the guy that finally answered, he's like, well, what's the extension on this? Because I don't even see this. And then, so I gave him the extension. He goes, oh, I must have gotten a rollover call. So we get put on hold again. And then we go to a different person. And then while we're on the phone with that person, we're filing it in details this load. And by the way, they haven't answered the emails yet. Now then they go, oh, that one just is gone. That's the struggle. That's the biggest struggle right now. I can deal with the low rates. I can deal with even low volumes. But when you have something posted and you're not answering the phone or answering the emails, or, it was posted 5 minutes ago by one of your other agents in the office and no one's told them to take it down, that's the kind of stuff that's frustrating. And that's part of the game, though. That's like being in the NFL and complain about being tackled. This is going to happen. This is what I deal with. Yeah, I would much rather email the brokers that I work with. But a lot of them have these platforms so I can just look, which is why a lot of them don't even use the email list anymore. So, with both feet, saying hi to Sterling and everybody else. Gary Cook says, on the DAT, I see a few brokers only use an email for the contact. I try and stay away from those. Why is that, Gary? Why do you avoid those? I'll tell you what, I would rather email a broker because here's the thing. This is something that, because I was the same way, Gary. I was the same way. Okay. What I found is that I can email on 4 loads at the same time. Now I've got a notebook, and I did this in the truck. So don't think that it's just easy. It is easier at home or whatever, but here's what I do. I can email 3 or 4 or 5 different brokers at the same time. Mark it as called on the DAT or 123. And I could still keep looking for loads. I'm not on the phone waiting on hold for someone to tell me that they forgot to take the posting down. Right? And now, get this. If they don't answer the email, then obviously they don't want it moved bad enough. Or it's already been covered. So they just saved you some time. Right? Unless you're emailing the broker and then twiddling your thumbs. But now, when you're driving, you can't do that, obviously. And that's that challenge I understand. But now, I would check the email because a lot of brokers aren't emailing back, Gmail and Yahoo and Hotmail and all that stuff. So that could be frustrating. But so I know that here at Like Trucking, we can give our drivers a liketrucking.com address. So that helps. But you're right. But I'd rather be not answered by 4 emails than taking the time to call somebody and getting rejected 4 times. And so I like having the email function. Now, when you're driving, obviously that's a challenge. But again, you're not looking at, supposedly we're not looking at our phones going down the road, looking at a load board. And that's where the relationships with the broker can happen. You can just call your guy and say, hey, man, I'm going to be empty in Memphis. You're going to have something for tomorrow. I mean, that's essentially what Shannon does with the brokers that she works with. So, CN says, that's awesome. You're booking most freight off the low boards. Congratulations. I've been running a lot of loads with TQL. They've done pretty good at keeping me moving. Right. And you can do that with TQL. I mean, you can call them and say, hey, I'll be empty here. What do you got? Tom says, okay, I'm here. You can start over. Good deal. Yeah, that's frustrating. Some of these brokers have become lazy. They never answer. See, I get that. I really do. I don't have an Advanced Trucking email. I use my Yahoo email, but the email I tell the broker that I'm with Advanced Trucking. Yeah. And so what they can do is they can verify with that, right? So I would put that in your signature. Like, you guys should see my signature. It has a picture of my truck. It has my email address. It has our MC number. And everything they need from me is in my signature. My phone number, everything. And there are many times when I'll email a broker and then they'll call me. So, that there's that. Now, what's interesting is when I put everything they need to know in the signature, and the broker, I email on the load, and the broker goes, "What's your MC number?" It's in big red numbers. Of course, I don't say that, but so I just reply nicely, our MC number, and we're good to go. CDN says, Steve's signature is awesome. Thanks for your show today. Back to work. Thank you, CDN. But yeah, so I mean, look, it's not hard to stand out in the crowd right now. And, and here's all these little things. Like if you're constantly having to get appointments rescheduled, or if you're late, the computer's going to tell these brokers that. And they're not going to want to work with you. So you have to, people have to keep up on that. But that's how we shine right now. If the truck next to you can't keep their left door closed, and you ever, like, here's the thing, man. You ever go down the interstate? Now, half of my trucking career was in a governed truck. We were governed at 65 miles an hour. And I can't tell you how many times, let's say I'm running from, Kansas City to Salt Lake City, Utah. And, I keep the left door closed. I've been known to get 700 miles, 712, I think is my record for a 65 mile per hour truck, because I don't stop. Like before the 30-minute break thing came along, I never stopped. If I did, it was 10 minutes to pee at a rest area, and boom, I was on my way. And I can't tell you how many times I'll sit there and I'll do a full 500-600 miles, and I get passed by the same truck over and over and over. And it's like, you're not really making, all you're doing is burning fuel. Yeah, you're doing 80 while I'm doing 65, but you've passed me like 4 times. Slow and steady wins the race. It's that simple, and that's how it is. It's consistency. You can't build consistency if you're constantly like pushing yourself, but then stopping. It's kind of like the spot market. If you're running consistent lanes and getting a consistent feel and running for the same 4 or 5 brokers in a consistent area, you're going to have a much better time than the people trying to find the highest rate to all these different points and struggling to get out, like Denver or Miami or, Seattle, right? Or Maine. Because at the end of the day, if you look at your rate per day, you're not much better off. So you might as well do everything that you can in your rate per day within a 300 or 400 or 500 mile radius. Not radius, but trips. And then burn less fuel. And know your lanes, know your customers. Your broker, like, hey, I've got these trucks that run nothing but Michigan to Missouri and back, you know? I mean, that's essentially what I do. We're not bouncing all over the place unless we absolutely have to. And even then, I figure it out. 2-step to here, 3-step to here. Here's a circle. Here's a triangle. And there you go. It's that simple. I've changed my background on YouTube. It's a picture of the Sears Tower in Chicago. I've been there. I've actually delivered at the Chicago Tribune. You throw a rock and hit the Sears Tower. It was pretty wild. That's a story. I got lost too. Late to the party. 65 inches of Snorelord looks very nice. Oh my gosh. Well, here's to you. Cheers. I will hopefully have my little wall divider thing repaired this week, so I don't have the blurry background anymore. Gary says, if I can't do a load legally, I don't book it. I'm good at keeping my left door closed. I take my 30-minute break of my 10-hour break. I'll work and no play. There you go. But also, another important thing is choosing correctly and knowing what you're worth, right? And that's where these market tools are. Here's a load, Stratford to Chicago, picking up, just posted 4 minutes ago. Delivers tomorrow in Chicago. Easy 496 miles plus the 40 to get to Stratford. I've already done that mileage. So 41 miles to go from Jones Center to the TA truck stops. If you're picking up in Stratford, you might be picking up at either Crossdock or at American Products. And Cargo Chief's got this at 1162. Rate checks at 847. There isn't a posted rate. 8,000 pounds. I bet you this is going to be American Products, which is they make the boxes, electrical boxes that you see on the corners, and also the little transformer looking things. Easy load, easy place to get in and out of. And there you go. I would call in this load Rate Check's got this at $1.71. Cargo Chief's got it at $2.34. Green Screens is at $1.70 to $2, depending on the leverage that you got. And there you go. And if you don't fear Chicago, this is your load for you, Gary. I would pick this in a heartbeat. Look at your back hauls. Yeah, 533 loads coming out of Chicago going anywhere. 9 to go back to Missouri. Oh, no, there's 23 to go from Chicago to Stratford. So there you go. There's your load. Let's say that you're like, I don't like Chicago. Understandable. So let's go by the highest rate here. Yeah, $1.80 go to Washington. St. Peter's to Mesa, Arizona. This is going to be shopping carts. Actually, maybe not. No, I'm thinking of St. Charles. Never mind. I don't know if you want to do any long runs, but let's see. That Chicago's literally the best load. Everything else is going to Tennessee, Georgia, Texas, Alabama. And those places you're going to struggle. Here's Joplin to Romeoville, SheerTrans. Picks up at 3:30 today. Romeoville, Illinois for, no, this is for tomorrow. I got this on the wrong date. Hold on. I apologize, Gary. Oh, I got this for today and tomorrow. So there's that. So here's what we can do. We can sort this by pickup date. Oh, that's Chicago's for today. May to Missouri, if you want to put up with that. It's not the location, it's the location. And what do I mean by that? It is a pain in the butt to get into there. You're driving on some Missouri backwoods to get to Maida. But once you're there, it's a wide open spot to pick up. This one's going to Lansing. I imagine this is a Myers run. 631 miles. So it probably picks up today, delivers Wednesday. They're at 1,200. I would want 14 if it's going to take 2 days, if not more. And then there's your email. Right? Direct connect. And you can use the leverage. Well, Maida's kind of hard to get in and out of, and it'll be heavy, which they got a scale in sight. And you're like, yeah, oh man, I don't know, and da 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 da, and then you can convince them maybe to get you a little bit more than 1,200. I wouldn't do it for less than 14. Because I know that the pain in the butt to go in and out of there. I've done it. Or you take the Salem, Missouri to Wellsville, Kansas for today, 284 miles for $800. There you go, 43.8 on the weight. It's paper. That's a quick $800 for today, and then, but dude, you're in the woods on this one, even more than Maida. Yeah, that's not. Oh no, that's out of Salem. That's not too bad. Wellsville, Kansas puts you in the Kansas City market. It helps if I look in a map, right? But yeah, you're going some woods down there too, but and then Golden, Missouri to Boss, Missouri. It's not worth the time. Springdale, Arkansas to Spring Valley, Illinois. That deadhead's probably going to be off a little bit. So I would double check that. So you have a lot of options. Oklahoma City, St. Peter's, Oklahoma City. Not for 900 because you're going to struggle it out. Here's one. Chesterfield, Missouri just popped up. Fairview Heights, Illinois. Let's take a look at this one. Picks up today. Doesn't have a time. Delivers today. Oh, this delivers straight through. 34 miles. They're at $263. Oh, those two loads just disappeared. This updates in real time. Here's some beer loads. Springfield to Alabama. I don't know. Alabama's not great right now. So I mean, look at all these options, Gary. There's a lot of freight out of this area. It's a good spot to land. And like if we go to DAT, which I know you're probably looking at, Missouri is Missouri is 457 in and 633 out. Give me a second here. All right, hung up on me. Motomon, what's up? You're welcome, Gary. I'm from Chicago, no problem. And see, that gives you leverage, Gary. That gives you leverage to hold on. I got it. I put it into Axis. Hold on a second, guys. All right, I'm back. I need to get some hold music, like Sterling has said, when I get interrupted. The rates look like they've gotten worse since the last month. Truck is sold, but if anyone needs a newer drive-in, hit me up. Lebanon, Missouri to Iowa City is a regular load, and then you can do Buffalo, Iowa to bounce back into Harrisonville, Missouri for a good rate. We'll keep you busy. Yes, and that's something. That's something to look at. See, so because Don had limitations, right? You know, he didn't want to do these 3,000-mile weeks. You know, he had family to deal with, and so he fixed his authority to run how he wanted. And he and I pretty much ran the short game in this area. And he, not me, but he set up this Iowa and back kind of lane. And my job was to fill in the gaps whenever the brokers wouldn't have anything in that lane. And that's essentially what I did for him. He came up with a strategy. He had his particular brokers he was using. And then he would call me and like, hey, there's a gap, here's a gap, here's a gap, but keep me in this lane. And that's what we did. And that's because he got consistency. So make sure you check out his Trucking with Liberty channel and to find out why, you know, he's decided to do something outside of trucking. So even though the Chicago Bears stink right now. SDMF, what's up? You do have to be careful. I do have to be careful. Advanced trucking don't have beer permits. Okay, so yeah, you do have to be careful, but there's a website. Let me put that up here. So here's the website. So this tells you, so like Missouri, so if you pick up in St. Louis, and deliver it within Missouri, permits not applicable for interstate operating authority carriers, but it'll have a check mark whether you need it. And the check marks go over within, from, to, and through. So like even if you picked up in Illinois, let's say you wanted to bring a beer load from Illinois to Wisconsin. Well, you don't need one in Illinois. Do we need one in Wisconsin? Nope. So you'd be good to go. So there you go. So let's say you get brain damage and you grab a load out of Denver, a beer load out of Denver, and let's say it delivers Kansas, right? Well, Kansas, you don't need one. Colorado, you don't need one, so you're good. Colorado to Missouri, you're good. Colorado to Wisconsin, you're good. Let's look at Iowa. Ooh, Iowa, you don't need one either. Indiana's the only one that you'd be kind of screwed on. So, there you go. So let me put that link in the chat there. Randy's just slacking. Yep. Of course, there's the. But so you got a lot of options here. A lot of options. Just depends on what direction you want to go. And if we sort this by age, a lot of them are for tomorrow. Here's one today. Spring Hill to Conomowoc. They're at 900. 1,054 is the average. Worldwide Express. Doesn't pick up till 6 o'clock tonight. Here's one that just popped up. Spring Hill, Kansas to Midway, Tennessee. Edge Logistics. No posted rate. That means someone probably fell off of this. They need it covered. So that's how you recognize that. They're really right at my cost per day. But I would check the market out of Midway, Tennessee. Now, I have a broker that's got stuff out of there. So I would contact that person before I book this one. But just in case they didn't have, I don't see a whole lot coming out of here. So, well, there is Midway, Tennessee to anywhere 288 miles, but those are all probably going southeast or northeast. Depends on where you want to run. Ohio, you need the permit as well. Yes, we have that permit, by the way. Yeah, annual. You don't need one if you're just going through the state. That's it. But if you're picking up to or from within, then yes, you do need it. You're driving a leather recliner, any loads? There's a lot of loads. None that you can do in a recliner. Right? So there's a lot of options here, Gary. So let's go to the load availability map. Let's go to van. And let's look at Missouri in general. There's that made into Lansing. So let's sort this by highest rate. What's the highest paying load coming out of Missouri? Sumner, Washington. Everett, Washington. Washington, not Washington. Here's a shopping cart load. That's not until October 17th. Now, logic would say, well, I'm going to call this guy, see if he's got anything for today, right? Obviously, this person is in charge of the shopping carts, right? Coming out of St. Charles. That's not working with this particular broker. I wish CDN had this account. Because he would appreciate that. Now, with that being said, check this out. So you can find all the company loads right here that they've posted. So we want to see what else PLS has. So view loads. And now these are only PLS loads. Right? And if we sort this by highest rate, now this isn't platform specific. This is for flatbed, van, reefer, all of it. But you can see everything, and you can kind of see where their consistency is. Like I should start seeing the St. Charles loads. There we go. St. Charles to American Fork, Utah. They've obviously got a bunch of these. In late to mid-October. Look at all this. California. Waterloo, New York. Brighton, Colorado for today. Oh, no, that's Cornelius, Oregon. Never mind. St. Charles, all these St. Charles loads. So obviously they've got everything they need to book loads all the way till the end of next month on these shopping carts. And this guy will not do an email list. They'd rather just post them like this. Or they're using carriers that aren't picking them off the load boards, but I don't know how they're doing that. If they don't even, it's kind of a weird dynamic. So and here's the thing. Sometimes you try to do the right thing and it just doesn't work out. Doesn't mean that it's not worth doing. You know what I mean? That's kind of how life is. Just because you do something that's right doesn't mean that it's going to be all hunky-dory for you or you deserve anything. You might give to a homeless person, then they'll turn around and rob you. Just because you gave to them doesn't mean that, that you're good and that you didn't deserve that, kind of a deal. Waterloo, New York is either glass or corks. That's good to know. UConn's old school, man. He was in the spot market years and years ago during the first boom when all the Schneider guys left to go to the spot market. But anyways, here's Van. And then let's do a reefer here. Washington, Oregon have cooled down. They were green last week. Now they're yellow. Idaho's green. Let's take a look at what loads are coming in and out of Idaho. 6,800 to go to Vineland, New Jersey. 6,000 to go to Atlanta. Only $1.88 to go to Florida. That's an interesting pricing. Idaho to Louisville. Bunch of those. So yeah, Idaho's not doing too bad. But then you got this Gooding, Idaho to Schulenburg, Texas for $1.50 a mile. I don't get it. You're going to struggle to get out of Texas. And then they got some shorties to Kansas that, they're 2 days, but they're only paying $2,200. Looks like Prime's got some loads on here. Idaho Falls, Cocoa, Florida. Here's one. Gooding, Idaho to Monette, Missouri. Food or kindred products. There's a lot of poultry that comes out of Monette and Arkansas and all that. That puts you in a good market for that. Doesn't Christmas trees come out of Oregon? Yeah, but we're not there yet. Right now we're dealing with pumpkins. You won't start seeing Christmas tree loads until mid to late October. So they're being harvested now, but you won't see them for a minute. You can always tell when they hit the Landstar load boards because you start seeing some ridiculous rates on some of these loads, not realizing that you have several stops, plus you're having to ice them down if you're in a van. If you're in a reefer, you don't have to do that. And they'll come out of Washington, Oregon, or Maine. Or not Maine, but Michigan. I don't know if they come out of Maine or not. If they do, the local carriers probably have that in the bag. But let's take a look at Washington. 7,000 to go from Pasco to South Windsor, Connecticut. $2.56 a mile. And you'll recognize them when they pop up because they'll have a ridiculous rate per mile because they won't tell you that it's like 18 stops or whatever. So that's how Christmas trees will work. Let's look at New Mexico. Farmington. I believe that's where the pumpkins come out of. Floor loaded pumpkins. There you go. So anything you see out of Farmington. So let's do this here. Let's go. No, let's continue that. We'll continue this route here. Going to Bow, New Hampshire. Now they're at a pretty low rate per mile, $1.81, and you're going to be loaded max. Like if you're heavy, they'll pull like 4 or 5 pumpkins off. That's what they do. And here's the thing: if it's raining, you're going to sit, right? You're going to sit because they can't have mold get on those things. And some of them you're going to be driving through the field. I don't know if they do that. I've never picked up pumpkins, but I've heard many people that have, and it varies. Who's the broker on this? Aiden Logistics. A lot of stuff coming out of Roswell to Salina, Kansas. Tom, if you're watching, that's kind of a gig there. Here's another Farmington, Massachusetts. A-Hall Logistics. Picks up today. No posted rate. Cargo Chief's got this at 53. Now, these rate checks are going to be off a little bit on this stuff because this is a seasonal product. So just know what you need, know what it's worth, and know, like this load here, how many tolls? $261 in tolls. And you're looking at about $1,400 in fuel at $4.95 a gallon. Yukon says I cut my own tree. Imported trees are sprayed with nasty pesticides. That's good. I agree with you, Yukon. That's a good idea. That's a great idea. But anyways, let's take a look at real quick at the market map for flatbed and flatbed and step deck, and then I'll let you guys go because I'm going to make a couple of calls. Look, Northwest is waking up, so let's look at what's coming out of Washington in flatbed. Highest pay and load is $51.25 for $1.77 a mile going to New Jersey. So refrigerators make more money than the flatbed on the long distance stuff. Look at that. Not one thing over $2 a mile. Now, with that being said, let's say you want to run short. Let's do highest rate per mile. Now we're getting into the $800, $320, not worth it. $1,300 to go from Washington to Oregon. Bunch of those. Let's take a look at one of these. Okay, so this is Washougal. Am I saying that right? Washington, Ontario, Oregon. Okay. They're at 1150, 360 miles. All right. Now, let's look at the back hauls. There isn't any. So as I say, you'd want to look at the back hauls to see what you would make going back, and just kind of do this back and forth. They've obviously got one of these a day. I mean, it's not round trip money. I mean, it could be if you got them up a little bit, but still, that's only, that'd be kind of hard to do. But, just this is where these tools come in handy. Shannon says, I'm doing big boss lady stuff today. Well, you have to fill me in on that. Gary Cook, yes, Christmas trees coming out of Oregon. I did one of the Colorado ones. There you go. But Gary's in a van, so he would have to do the ice down method, which, yeah, that's no fun. So, alrighty, guys and gals, thank you for watching. I appreciate you, you and the supporters and the channel members and the people that have given me super chat. If you're not a member, you missed out on a live feed that I did Saturday night, I think. Yeah, Saturday night. With my new guitar drum machine pedal thingamajigger. So, anyways, with that being said, strength for today, hope for tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll see you Wednesday. And if not, we'll see you Friday. I don't know. We'll see you sometime. So, with that being said, peace.